Welcome back to Well Done. Today's guest is someone who's not just creating amazing products, but actively changing an entire industry. My guest today is Dasha Minina, the founder of Maxus Nails and the visionary behind the Beauty A-List, which is a certification program designed to raise the standards of both salons and spas and the entire beauty industry, really, to ensure the safety of beauty consumers everywhere. Dasha, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I want to go backward a little bit and start with your entrepreneurial journey. You started with Maxus Nails. Can you tell us a little bit more about Maxus and what was it about the nail category that inspired you to start this brand?
Yeah. So I've always had issues with my nails, and I knew that I wanted to do something with consumer commodities. And I've always just been sort of gravitated towards nails of how to take care of them and how to really fix my own. So I went to school. I really wanted to know everything there is to know about the industry, and I wanted to know what it was like for the professional. So I went to school and I received a nail technician license, which really helped me solidify that I wanted the line to be for natural nails. I learned my thing is I say to my clients, I went to school so that they don't have to. So I learned a lot of what kind of ingredients to put in, what works, what doesn't, what's purely marketing, and just come out with products that really work and that fall under the non-toxic category. So when we're talking about non-toxic for nails, it's very hard to discuss that because then you have the obvious, the 12 free. Although now I don't even know what number they got up to.
47 free.
Is it really 47?
I think I saw something that was just wild. I'm like, how many ingredients are there that this is free of?
That's what they're doing. At this point, they took something and they ran with it. And now it is a marketing tactic. And now you're just putting on ingredients there and saying, well, we don't have it. You never had it to begin with. So it's hard because at the end of the day, it is chemicals, right? But you want to eliminate the ingredients that have been proven to be toxic and that really affect us. That was always my thing, is that I've always looked at the ingredients that I put in and make sure that there aren't any studies that have come out that say that they're toxic to the body.
And so you built a couple of really great formulas that won beauty awards, right? They were bamboo based.
My strengthener won the Cosmopolitan Strengthener of the Year award. That was super exciting. Besides all of the celebrities wearing it, like my biggest claim to fame is that Angelina Jolie wore the strengthener that I put into the box to send to her. So technically, we have, what is it, 7 degrees of separation with Angelina Jolie. For very
That's
exciting.
so exciting.
It's real.
It's interesting because I think clean beauty is talked about a lot. Clean nail care is not as, I think, prevalent. Why is that, do you think?
Because everyone wants instant gratification. That's what it comes down to. And anytime that you deal with anything that's wellness, it's not just instant. You have to truly work at it every day. Every day you wake up and you say, this is my lifestyle and this is what I'm going to do. And artificial nails are very easy to put on and put them on, and then you set it and you forget it and you have no idea what's underneath. And what I find just incredibly frustrating, and I really don't even understand how so many women put on these artificial nails, which I'm not against. Okay. I'm not against them. You do what you want. I'm okay with that. I don't judge. But what I do have an issue with is if the nail tech that you go to, because at the end of the day, it's always the nail tech that works on you. That is how you get the damage to your nails. Either you do the damage yourself or it's the nail tech. Typically, it's never the product unless you buy something from overseas for 5 cents. We don't know who made it or whatnot. But typically, it's going to be the nail tech or yourself that did the damage. So if you've been doing artificial nails for years, and at that point when they remove them, your nails are so thin that it hurts when they're exposed to air. And by the way, I've heard this. Women are okay with this. How is it that you're okay with this? At that point, it's clearly an issue. It's like when you put in extensions so long, so often that your hair falls out and you're okay with it.
Or you don't actually know that that's going to happen, right? I think you're going every month. I mean, I admit, I go every month. I get hard gel. And I actually was going to ask you, I know the nail technician is a huge part of this, but are there levels of bad? There's gel, there's acrylic, there's dip, or are they just all bad?
No, I don't want to say they're bad. They're not bad. They're not bad when they're used properly. They're bad when they're in the wrong hands. And the fact is, if you are trying to count pennies and you're going to the cheapest nail salon and you want to spend the least, the odds are that person is not trained as well because they had to put in money to get trained. They expect to get more for their services. Or two, they're not using the right supplies because, again, they have to charge you more. Or three, they're not following the proper sanitation disinfection protocols because, again, that also means that they have to charge more for the services.
This is a great segue into why you started the Beauty A List. Can you tell us a little bit about that inspiration? Because you learned some of these things when you were going through nail technician school, right? You learned what was the right way to do something.
Well, I think it really comes from just the way my brain works. I always have these big ideas, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And when I was in school, and I will never forget this, I learned that, I mean, this was really a long time ago, and obviously the industry shifted from then and have changed, but still remains truth. I've learned that if you go to get a pedicure and there are jets and there are pipes where the water moves between, if you go and they do not disinfect, they do not run the disinfected solution between every client through those pipes, what happens is the water stays there from one person to the next, and it mixes in the football. And I was just horrified. Horrified. That was the day that I learned that every single person that works on you has to have their license hanging. And I mean, you go to a nail salon, you see one, maybe two, and then how many people are working there? 10? I mean, 12, whatever. The odds are they're not licensed. The odds are they don't have the proper education to keep you safe. They don't know what to look out for if there are issues. They're not doctors, but if they see fungus, they need to know how to work with you. If they see other issues, they need to be able to talk to you and treat you differently. Besides that, they also need to know how to use the tools. This is the one thing that I think that so many women don't realize or don't put two and two together. You go to a doctor and he cuts your skin, right? And you expect the doctors to be licensed. You always look up. Where did they go? What school did they go to? What training do they have? What happens in a nail salon? They cut your skin. But
You're right.
nobody thinks of it that way. And the tools that they use to cut your skin need to be clean. Otherwise, you are putting yourself at risk of a really serious injury. And by the way, those happen. Every once in a while, they trickle into online to the news cycle, every once in a while. But it happens often, but it also falls under NDAs and lawyers come in and then it gets hidden and then it gets brushed off and it's not really talked about. But if you really talk to your friends, I guarantee you will know someone that got hurt from a beauty service.
Why do you think there's such gaps in licensing or training? Like why don't nail techs follow the protocols?
So I don't want to make this just about nail techs because this happens in all other industries. What I think is what makes the nail techs the worst, because everyone wants to pay less, because they, for some reason, consider manicure as this cheap labor, as this quick thing that you get. You don't ever second guess hundreds of dollars that you would pay for a hair appointment. But when it comes to nails, for some reason, people have this idea, but what comes with it is that lack of professionalism, because they simply can't give it to you for the price that you expect. So my goal truly is to bring it back, to how nails used to be like. And it actually used to be a luxury service. It's very fascinating. And then after I'm looking up my notes here because I want to make sure I'm correct. So after the fall of Saigon in 1975, a Hollywood actress Tippi Hedren, she visited a refugee camp and she recognized that the Vietnamese women needed practical job skills, and she brought in her manicures to train them. And then she started bringing them into the United States, and the entire industry changed.
Wow. That's wild because I always wondered, there is a prevalence in Asian women in nail salons. And my mom's from Vietnam and she was also a refugee.
So the entire industry changed. And my goal is to really raise it to what it was, because these women, first of all, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but there are certain states that now require human trafficking signs in beauty salons, especially nail salons, because there's a lot of human trafficking there. Again, you're talking about a service where you expect a service, but you want to pay $10. Or what? How? How can a business afford to do that? Doing it the right way. So just to give you an example, when you go to get a manicure and they use a nail file on you, it should be a brand new nail file. It shouldn't be reused.
I feel like it never is. I always see the white bits on the nail file.
It should never be reused unless it says on there that it could be disinfected. The odds are it's not. But I remember, because after I went to school, I was like, no, I'm doing my own nails. So that stopped for me. But I remember I would go to nail salons and the nail file was so old, you couldn't even see the writing on it. And I never put them two to I never, in my mind, it was okay. It was okay going into a nail salon that was kind of dirty. It was kind of dirty, but I never, why? Why is it that we think that way? And I realized that, and that really was the turning point for me, where I felt like the industry failed me as a consumer, because I fully expected that if I go into a place of service, official business, which, by the way, that's another story, a business that provides a service, that I'm protected as a consumer. That's what I always thought. And it was that moment where I realized that that's not necessarily the case. And that is because the state boards, who are the ones that are issuing these licenses, they're severely understaffed. They don't have the resources, they don't have the funding. So they're not able to truly monitor the situation. Like, for example, this was just mind blowing to me. So state of California has about, I want to say about 550,000 licensed professionals, okay? Guess how many inspectors they have for 550,000 professionals?
50.
20? 20? And then I
20.
think so, yes. I'm going to look up to make sure that that number didn't change, because I remember that was the number that was given to me. And they can't fill them because they have to come with a security background, because it is so volatile, and because there's so many things that are happening with the unlicensed and whatnot. They need to have that background in order to come into the salon and ask for licenses.
So this is why it's an industry that's very unregulated at the
And,
moment.
and it needs to be, because it protects the consumer. And if we don't do anything about this, and if we don't fix this, it's only going to get worse with these recent deregulation attempts. Because at the end of the day, what does it come down to? It comes down to consumer safety.
What is this recent deregulation attempt?
So they've been going on for a while. I am a part of PBA, which is the Professional Beauty Association. They're one of the largest ones, and they're really truly the strongest voice in the industry that lobbies against deregulation. They've been going on for a while, but now with Trump administration and with efficiency, now there've just been sort of an uproar of more attempts. Fascinating part is that 90% of them are men that are proposing this deregulation of the licenses for beauty services. And I don't see them getting these services.
No.
Do they even realize the potentials of, like, the lack of safety of if it's going to become deregulated? and then anyone can just start offering services. I can't even imagine.
No, and I mean, the average customer doesn't even know the risks, right? And I think that's where, as somebody who does go to get my manicure, I go get my facials, like what are red flags? Like what are things that we need to look out for as a consumer?
The most simplest thing is making sure that the facility is clean. It's like the most simplest, but the most basic, but the one that I think that many women don't even think about. It really should be clean. They should have licenses that are posted. The person that's working on you, you should see their license. And then the ones that are doing it the right way are very vocal because they're very upset because they see what's happening and they will talk to you about it. They will tell you about it. So, for example, for nail salons, you will see they will say they're natural, they're non-toxic. They will say that they do jetless pedicures or they do waterless pedicures. By the way, the whole soaking of your nails during a manicure, that's just for spa experience. There's actually absolutely no need to do that. Technically, if you actually think about it, what happens when you keep your nails in water for a prolonged time, they expand. And then if you put nail polish on them, and we're talking about microscopic, of course, but when you're talking about when you put nail polish on them, and then the nail plate goes back to original size, it affects the nail polish, and it could potentially affect it from having a longer time frame of a manicure. So, but that's something that they do because it's a spa experience, and
It feels
it feels
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the pedicures and the water. That's why so many now don't use them at all because there's really no need for it.
Going back to this deregulation or regulation, with the beauty A-list, do you find that it has been challenging to be this voice in the industry? What have been some challenges that you've faced, or has it been difficult to convince, people in the industry to jump on this?
So, Beauty A-List is a partner of the technology that helps Beauty A-List run. So, we need to back up a little. So initially, the big idea was Beautician List. That was what I came up with, which is a directory for consumers to find licensed professionals. It started with nails, and then it took on, and then we included other license types. First of all, people don't know how to spell beautician. That was an issue. And then brands were sort of confused between what is a beautician list and then what is the technology behind it. So the technology behind it is Licensify. And what Licensify does, it automates license verifications for the beauty industry. So to give you an example, so let's say I am a hair colorist. In order for me to get that hair color, I need to show that I'm a licensed professional, right? The brand wants to make sure that I'm not going to burn someone and then I'm going to get sued. They want to make sure that I'm licensed. So up until I came along, that process was manual. So I would have to upload a copy of my credentials. Somebody within the brand's team would have to verify my credentials, create an account with me, and then send me that welcome email. That process takes at 24 hours the best and about a week at most, or 2 weeks really. Clearly, a lot of friction and a lot of fall off because by that point, those people already bought the product somewhere else. So
Mhm.
I automated that procedure. And that is what that technology does, Licensify. So when we verify somebody for our clients, we onboard them to the directory of Beauty A-List. So that is how we sort of provide several benefits to our professional users by them not just getting new clients, but by them having access to professional only products.
Oh, okay. So then let's say a new spa or a new salon would then go to you as a
Hmm.
client, right? And then basically get certified so that they can be searchable
Hmm.
within your directory.
Hmm.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So has it been challenging to convince, people to certify with you, or
It's challenging in a sense that what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Everyone understands that this is an idea that propels the industry forward. The entire professional industry understands that right now it's segmented. And while everyone is fighting against deregulation, there's not one unified effort, and there's not one that brings technology into the conversation. And that's where I come in, where I am able to bring everyone together and introduce us to the consumer. The issues have been more forward thinking, and some want to wait and see what's going to happen. So that's really, it depends on who you speak to when it comes to the business side of it. But when it comes to the professional side, again, those that are proud of being licensed, they understand. The ones that are kind of already upset at the industry and already have their following on Instagram, on Facebook, those might be the ones that will come over later because right now they're doing what they're doing and they're used to it. But, my big sort of push for the industry is that if you are part of Beauty A-List, you are not a victim of algorithms and you are a part of a dedicated platform that is just for beauty. And that right now does not exist. Right now, as a consumer, you have to go on Instagram and spend hours trying to find whoever. You can't find them by location. So that's a whole other thing. Or you go on Yelp where we don't know about reviews. You go on Google, you don't know about reviews. And again, going back to what I said, you won't know if somebody got sued. You won't know. You won't know anything because that stuff is just hidden. That stuff is taken away. You never see that. You never see that. The license is the minimum that we require. That is the minimum of what you need to have in order to prove sort of your professionalism, because at least we know that everybody went through somewhat of the same training. And when I say somewhat, I mean all different states have completely different hours and everything of curriculum that they expect in order to get a license.
If somebody, I guess, gets certified and then is part of your directory, right? How does the customer then understand though that this person, yes, they're trained, but that they are doing a good job or that they're following their training? Like that's kind of where the gray area for me, I'm like, well, how would I know that?
Yeah. So what I want to do, going back to what I said about education for doctors, what I want to do is I want to promote those beauty schools that are teaching the best techniques, that have the best education, and that have the students that come out that are really the best of the best. And what I want to do is I want the consumers to know that and to then look for those that have graduated those schools because, oh, I want to get a haircut. Oh, Vidal Sassoon. Oh my God, I know all of their graduates, all their people, they know what they're doing. Their haircuts are the best. And what that does is it brings the industry together. My goal is to bridge everyone together and make it for the consumers to be the ones that are advocating for themselves and to really rise up all of these schools and all these professionals and everyone that is getting advanced education and that is getting all these certifications. So if you have a certification, it will be a part of your profile. You will be able to know who you're going to. They've been in the industry for 30 years. They have 10 certifications. They graduated this. They did this. They're a master colorist and they got their coloring certification from X or ABC.
Almost like LinkedIn, but for beauty experience.
Yes, that's right. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is, first of all, you're spending a lot of money. Okay, let's put it there. We spend a lot of money on beauty. So you want to spend it on someone that's knowledgeable. But second of all, you want the best. And you want to really have the options and to be able to not be scared about switching your hair colorist, but actually being excited about it. If you're moving and you're worried about who to go to, now you're going to be able to see, oh, wow, this person has really good qualifications. I want to check them out. What are they going to be able to do? So it should be more of that and more transparency and really to elevate the industry and give more knowledge to us, the consumer.
I mean, it's a pretty large undertaking. So, what does success look like to you in the next few years? Because I'm assuming It's probably a slow build, right? To educate the customer, to get people on board.
Yeah.
What are you measuring? What are your goals?
My goal is to start working with the trade shows, because with the trade shows, we're going to beef up our directory with more users, with more professionals. Obviously, we will get more traction. The next thing that I want to do is I want to roll out an algorithm for the consumers that will work on recommendations, because that's really key. If you want to analyze technology software, what works and what doesn't, the reason why people freaked out on TikTok when TikTok was removed and then reinstated, and then how it was reinstated, it was the algorithm. That is what everyone loved about TikTok. It was different. And then when it came back, everybody was saying the algorithm is different. It's the algorithm. And then what is the main key? What gets you to go to someone? It's recommendations from your friends. So that's going to be my next thing to work on, is to build that out, to be able to take the guesswork from you having to search through the system, and to be able to provide you with someone that your friends go to, and one that really falls under all of the criteria that you're looking for. So that will be success for me to launch that, because I haven't started that yet. That is a huge undertaking on its own.
But it sounds incredible, though. I'm looking forward to that.
I always approach everything differently, because I'm sort of two different entities. I'm the business, and I understand what it's like as the industry, what it's like, what they deal with. But then I'm the consumer. I will always be the consumer, and I know what I want. I know what my friends want. And I am not a giant corporation with a lot of red tape. So I'm able to move fast. And that really is a huge differentiator when it comes to with everything that I do, is that I'm able to have ideas and then start working on them. Sometimes it's budget is limitations, but besides that, I'm able to really put out a lot of great ideas that I have that others either have not thought of or have thought of and are not able to do because of the red tape.
Well, so much of entrepreneurship is the follow through, right?
Yeah.
Because an idea is just an idea until you do something with it. But I'd love to actually talk about entrepreneurship because you are, somewhat of a serial entrepreneur. What have been some lessons that you've learned from being a beauty brand owner to kind of flipping it and going on the other side?
Yeah, you're going to fail. And that's okay. And that's okay. Because without failing, you won't know what will work. So it's the failures that will get you to success. And also, just do it. Do what makes you uncomfortable. It's just a task. That's really the way that I make myself do things that are potentially uncomfortable. And when I'm comfortable, I mean sending that email that is asking for something significant, coming up to somebody that I don't know. It's uncomfortable, but I make myself do it because it's just a task. You're just going to do it. I just sort of view it that way and never miss an opportunity. So whenever I'm invited anywhere that presents an opportunity for me to meet others, to be exposed to something else, I never say no, because you never know what is going to come out of that experience. Never. Talk to everybody, be kind to everybody, and pivot, 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 pivot. I started off with nail treatments, and now I have 3 patents, 1 patent pending, and I have 2 tech companies. I would have never thought this, but it just happened because I just pivoted and I kept going, and I was sure of myself. And that's really, honestly, at the end of it all, I guess if I would have to really point it down, you have to fully believe that you're going to do it, that you're going to make it. This is it. Nothing will stand in your way. If that is your driving mission, everything else falls under there because everything else falls true. I will make it. Every morning I wake up and I know I know I'm going to be the next Zuckerberg. Elon, I know it will be me. Nothing will stand in my way. And every day I do uncomfortable things. I fail. And then I get back up. I mean, just 2 days ago, I had a very big account write to me and say that they don't want to move forward with the services. And that was really heartbreaking. And then I had the next day, and now I have a huge international company that is going to sign up. You lose some, you win some. You just got to keep going.
Do you have any tips for dealing with rejection?
Yeah, it's not personal. It's not
Yeah.
personal. And it took me years to realize that. I think we as women, it's so interesting because I'm listening to a book right now, How to Think Like a Man, but Behave Like a Woman, I think is the name of it. And she talks about this, and it's really quite fascinating. Play Like a Man, Win Like a Woman is the name of it.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the show notes for everyone.
Yes, really fascinating, actually, because a lot of the things that she says are true. And it's I lost my train of thought.
About rejection.
Yes.
How to
Yes,
handle
yes,
rejection.
yes, yes. And she said that it's not personal, but we as women tend to take it as such. But, and she did a really, she gave a really good analogy. She said, as men, they deal with rejection all the time. Like if you think about it in sports, like pick me, coach, pick me, coach. But they're not chosen, and it's okay. They're just going, they're just asking, and they're going to continue to ask. Meanwhile, we're going to sit there and think, why didn't the coach pick me? Right? Isn't that
Yeah,
fascinating? Because it's true.
it's true.
It's so true. So for me, I tell myself it's business. There are no feelings in business. There are no feelings in business. It's business. Obviously, I personally think that, again, I think as a woman, my team is what I wouldn't be anything without my team. I'm very gracious for my team. They're the most important thing to me. But really, it's business is business. So if somebody rejects you, that doesn't mean anything. There could be several reasons why that happens. You just go back to the drawing board and come up with something else. And you just got to keep going.
That's so inspiring. In terms of balancing, the different parts of your life, your companies, being an entrepreneur, being a mom, what are you doing to stay sane or balanced? I don't know if balance is the right word because sometimes there is no balance.
I don't work on the weekends. I live till Friday, Monday through Thursday. I look forward to Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, I spend the time with my family. And I like to just decompress. I need to be out with people. I need to see things. I need to have experiences and not think about work. So
Mhm.
I've actually had a couple of, and typically most people don't work on weekends, but from some bosses do, I guess. I actually have that same mentality with everyone that works for me. I don't ever email. I don't ever expect anything after work hours. And I don't expect anything on the weekends. I think personal time is incredibly important. Family time is incredibly important. The worst thing you can do as an entrepreneur is burnout. It is
Mhm.
absolutely the worst thing you can do. Because once you're burned out, that's it. Everything you've built is is gone. So I allow myself to have pity parties. If I just really don't feel well mentally and I'm just down, I allow myself to feel that way. And I don't do anything for that day. And I just let go and I just do whatever it is that I want to do. And the next day I wake up and it's a new day and it's a new opportunity and you got to keep going.
I love that because it's giving yourself that chance to just release it, just get it out, and then it doesn't stay there.
You have to. You have to let it out. But the next day, and that's the beauty. It's the beauty. It's so interesting. I watched this video on Instagram recently and it was just crazy. So it was a monk, I think, that was saying it. And he said that you live a new lifetime every day that you wake up.
It is a new day every day, a new life.
Yeah. It's once you really absorb it, it's mind blowing because then it doesn't stay. Everything that happened was yesterday. It was in a different lifetime. Your lifetime is today. So today you're going to be your best. Today you're going to tell your loved ones that you love them. Today you're going to move and be happy. It was really incredible hearing that.
I love that. How can we as a consumer get more involved in some of the initiatives that you are bringing forth?
Yeah, I think that the first thing is really start advocating for yourself. And that is if you see something dirty and you see that it's dirty, you ask. you shouldn't be scared to talk to a provider about what they're doing. It's like one of those, you see something, you say something. It's about really looking for those that have gone to school and that have received their license and that should know how to protect you from harm. I have an app, so it's a beauty A-list. There's an app, there's a website, and that is really a way of how you can go on and you can verify if someone is licensed or not. Right now, that process is really difficult because you got to go on the state board and several prompts, which has really been the issue, I think. There hasn't been an easy way to bring the certification and compliance for us, for the consumers to use. So the best thing you can do is stay away from dirty salons. If you go to the cheapest person, you should expect subpar services because whoever put in the work, whoever uses good tools, whoever has proper protocols, will not charge the cheapest. I think that is the biggest misconception. And I think that is the biggest thing that women need to understand. That, yes, today you didn't get hurt. Great. And I hope you won't. I hope you won't. But guess what? It happens. It happens a lot. So until it's going to be you, you're going to say, well, it's okay. It's fine. But it's not fine. Because if you look up some of the cases, I mean, they've had amputations. I mean, it's not pretty, and you don't want to be that case. So it's about advocating for yourself and using Beauty A-List to find licensed providers.
Actually, I wanted to clarify. So there's licensed providers and there's also licensed like salons and spas, like the business
Yeah,
itself,
so we have
right? So
both.
then, okay, so should somebody look up, confirm that the business is certified licensed, and also then find a technician within
Well,
that business?
I don't know if getting the license of a business is as important as it is of the person that's working on you, because the business is business. And yes, you need to have a business license to have a business, but you care about the person that's physically touching you,
Mm-hmm.
not the business that they're in. So while yes, both are important, if you really want to really think about it, it's the one that is physically touching you that you want to make sure that they know what they're doing.
Got it. And if a beauty professional is listening, what can they do to get started in this certification process with you?
Yeah, just go on Beauty A List. There are two separate websites there. There's the consumer facing one, and that is where you're able to find a professional, you're able to look at portfolios, you're able to read articles, and then there's the professional one, and that is where you also have professional articles. Also, we provide free AI services. So we give them the opportunity to generate customer service responses and social media captions. So that is one of them. We also just became partners with the green beauty community. So we really want to promote green beauty and really show these professionals how they're able to save the earth while advocating for clean services. So there are all these different aspects that are there for the professionals. So it's very simple. It's beautyalist.com. And when you sign up, it will give you some prompts. An important thing to mention, and that is that some beauty professions do not require a license. So for example, a lash technician, they get a certification. So it's somewhat different. For example, makeup artists, most makeup artists do not need a license to practice. So what we do with those users, because we obviously want to encompass the entire beauty spectrum, and we obviously want to onboard everybody to provide a better service. So those type of users, they verify themselves in other ways, where we actually verify their business credentials, if they have websites or if they have any invoices or anything, to make sure that everyone that is on the platform has been properly vetted.
Okay. We didn't even go down the route of lash extensions, and I'm like scared to ask that question.
Just the glue. I would ask the glue if they know where the glue
Okay.
comes from, what's inside. They should. So this is the biggest thing, right? You might not know the answer, but you should ask them. You should ask the
Got
technician.
it.
And if technician fumbles and doesn't know, then you should be somewhat nervous. So the
Okay.
technician needs to know the products that they're using on you. So at the most simplest way, even if you don't know anything yourself, just ask, hey, where is this from? What kind of extensions are these? What kind of glue is this? Have them answer to you in an educated way and not in a way that they're stressing out that you're asking them, because then that clearly shows that they don't know.
Right. Well, Dasha, this has been a super insightful conversation. Are there any last parting words as we wrap up?
I just think that we should advocate for ourselves. And going back to your entrepreneurial question, we as women, I'm a big proponent of just women supporting one another. We need to advocate for ourselves when it comes to beauty services, when it comes to our personal lives, and when it comes to our business lives. And that every day that we get the luxury of being alive, we should use it to our advantage and to get the best of what is there in the world.
Yeah. Live to your purpose
Yes.
or find out what your purpose is.
Yeah.
But I think one of the interesting things you mentioned too is you're pivoting all the time. So sometimes you wonder what your purpose is, but it could change like
Absolutely.
year after year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you just go with it and you feel it and you believe it.